It's not about shifting. It's about how we are looking at the picture. We can look at not only the sustainability and environment, we can look at technology as a threat, but at the same time, it can provide huge opportunities. Trade is the same when it comes to sustainability and environment. It could provide, and it is providing a lot of opportunity if we are looking at it from the angle that is positive and to push the agenda forward. So our overview of the topic and all other topics, that we always have to look at the bright side and how can we use those to flourish the growth of the global trade. And if it's going to be about sustainability, we welcome it and we're going to push that forward if it's going to bring prosperity and development to nations.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I think we have time for one more question, and you've been very patient up front as well. I'll give the floor to you. If you could give us your name as well as your media, as well, please. And if we have a microphone for our friend.
Good afternoon and salam alaikum. Dina Kamel, reporter from the national newspaper in Abu Dhabi. I had a couple of questions regarding the interest of some Arab countries to become members into the WTO. We've heard that it is a little bit more difficult for some of these countries to join. If you can talk to us, please, about the barriers to entry for some of these countries and what progress they've been making so far, particularly with some of the economic and geopolitical headwinds that some of them are facing in the region. My second question is regarding the Dr. Ngozi had mentioned that global trade in 2024 is likely to come under the previous forecast of 3.3%. Can you tell us by how much below that could be revised downwards? And finally, we heard earlier today that the UAE had put in $5 billion in various investments, and that there could be more in the pipeline. Perhaps if Minister Dr. Thani Ziyudi can tell us what to expect further investments and in which areas, please. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. The accession of countries in the Arab region is very important to the Arab members of the WTO, and I was with them yesterday in their meeting, as was His Excellency Minister Ziyudi, and this is one of the topics. That's why they are very delighted that Comoros has become a member. It's both an African and an Arab country, so it's a big celebration. But you're right, about 7 to 9 countries now, if my memory serves me, are in the pipeline. Now, you know, some of them started negotiations some time ago, and due to internal domestic issues, sometimes conflict-related or economy-related, there have been lapses in this. I mean, we have several countries, actually. We have Iraq, we have Syria, we have Libya, we have Lebanon, Sudan, to name a few, who are all trying. And because, as you mentioned, the conflict and the fragility, that sometimes holds back the progress. Because you know, in trying to accede to the WTO, it's quite arduous. You have to negotiate agreements, market access agreements with virtually most of the members. And this takes time to be able to agree with them on these things. There are various other requirements. I won't go into technical details. You have to meet, which take time. You have to pass legislation in the country to underpin these agreements. That means changing your regulatory framework and your legislative framework sometimes. And you know, politically, sometimes this can be difficult. So this is why when a member succeeds, it's such a big celebration. I think that when there's more stability in some of the countries, they'll be able to work faster. There's a delegation from Iraq, actually most of them, and they are trying to talk to us, and they want to resume. We're very eager. Lebanon had visited the other time, also wanting to revive. We are very eager. So that's where we are. I think anyone that feels they're ready to move forward, we'll work with them and try to go as fast as possible. And then you asked about the revision. We are working on it now, so I can't give you an estimate yet by how much will come under. But just looking at the headwinds, we have economic headwinds. You know that the IMF and the World Bank have revised the forecast for global growth downwards slightly. And once aggregate demand is low across the board in almost every country, this has a bearing on trade, except for the US. The US economy is doing quite well. India is doing quite well. But in all the other countries, I think we have sort of flatlining of aggregate demand, and that has a bearing on trade as well. Then we've got all these conflicts you see that I referred to, the Red Sea. We've got climate change phenomenon in the Panama Canal. So we have other types of things impinging on the supply side. That's why we think that, the risks are on the downside and will be coming in, but I can't give you the exact number. And I think the other question was for His Excellency.
Yeah, the third one is about the announcement of His Highness. We, through His Highness Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed, the Foreign Affairs Minister, announced 10 million grants to some of the funds under the organization. We announced yesterday that 5 million is going to go to the digital fund for women that has been mentioned at the beginning. 4 is going to go to the integrated framework for LDCs, which is around 4 million, and 1 million is going to go to the fisheries. So that makes up the 10 million, inshallah. Beside that, this is the grants. The investments is going to move on. So we're exploring the technology, more investments, more projects with the as part of our foreign trade and foreign investments policy, and that is business as usual for us.
Okay. I'm afraid we've run out of time, so I'd like to thank His Excellency Dr. Tani Al-Zayudi and the Director General, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, for joining us. Please consult the WTO website for updates on all the happenings at MC13. It promises to be a very busy week ahead of us, and we wish you a pleasant day. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you.
We're going to join the ministerial roundtable.
Absolutely. Yeah.